I've always been fascinated with the stories of sleep paralysis. The fact that you are awake but can't move as a result of being in between the state of wakefulness and sleep. I think we can all agree that it's terrifying while at the same time intriguing. All of my family members experienced sleep paralysis at least once. My mom had it twice, but she told me that it only lasted a minute or two. It wasn't a big deal to her. My dad, on the other hand, it had happened to him only once, but the experience was very traumatic and he had trouble falling asleep for quite some time. Then there's me. I had my first one a day after my 16th birthday. The time was only 7 in the evening and I fell asleep while reading a book on the bed. After a while, I woke up and opened my eyes, and by the way, I assumed that I was awake because I could see everything in my room. But there was a problem. I couldn't move. I felt okay at first. The idea of not being able to move wasn't comfortable, but you figure you'll get your motor functions back shortly. Having said that, I still couldn't move after a couple of minutes. It was by that point that I was definitely scared. I don't know how much time had passed, but at some point, I began to feel my chest pressed down by something. The intensity increased by the second, and it was having an impact on my breathing. In my mind, I was freaking out. After several minutes of feeling the pressure on my chest, I was now laboring to pull enough oxygen into my lungs. I think it was by that point that I realized I might actually die. I tried with all of my strength to will my body to move, but none of my limbs would respond. I was literally a piece of meat on the bed. I couldn't do anything. I was in that state for quite a long time. If I have to guess, I'd say about half an hour. Just try to imagine yourself pinned under a car and the weight of it in its entirety pressing against your chest. Sounds horrible, right? Now imagine not being able to do anything to free yourself. You can't even scream. The desperation I felt in that nightmarish half hour still makes me shiver to the core. I seriously don't think I'd be alive today if not for my sister. She came into my room to borrow my headphones. Hers was smashed when she dropped it from the second floor, and I thank God that happened, because when she came in, she saw me sweating bullets and realized right away there was something wrong with me. She tells me that she had to shake me and hit my face a few times for me to wake up. But that did it. That snapped me out of the sleep paralysis, and I think it's the only reason why I can talk about it today. From what I can find online, apparently there have been no clinical deaths from sleep paralysis till date. Still, I feel strongly that I wouldn't be alive today had it not been for my sister waking me up. Of all things one can be afraid of, I am now fearful of falling asleep. I hope I can get over this soon. I'm in my room, on the bed, and sound asleep. I don't know the time, but it's still dark outside, and I'm suddenly awake. I try to move my body because I feel like going to the bathroom, but for some reason, my body doesn't work. Then eureka! Oh boy, I'm in a sleep paralysis. I concentrate all of my willpower to move my hand, and it almost feels like I'm moving the tip of the finger, but something tells me that in reality, it's probably not doing anything. It's more likely that my wishful thinking is fooling the mind. So next, I plan to concentrate my mind into screaming. And right as I'm about to, I see a silvery figure slithering on the bed. Then as it goes off the bed, it moves about in the air in the same slithering motion, like an air snake. I see the snake-like creature move freely around the room. It's almost like it's inspecting its surroundings. After a short while, it comes to me. I see it checking me out, and I think it knows that I can see it. I'm fearful, but it seems for nothing, as it does me no harm, and it floats away after satisfying its curiosity. Dangerous or not, I'm desperate to regain control of my body. But try as I may, my body is a solid rock. And then I see the creature again. It had moved away to some corner where I couldn't see, but now it's come back to view. The silvery creature flies towards the tall dresser. There, it bumps into a TV remote that I had left on top of the dresser. The remote falls off and it makes a sharp, cracking noise. Finally, the sound wakes me up for good and I'm able to move again. I get off the bed in an instant and face the creature. I feel a little embarrassed. The creature is no more and my wife looks at me like she's watching a moron. I was half naked, with arms wide open, as though I was ready to fight the air. Okay, so that's what happened to me a few nights ago. And if you would have told me that I was just dreaming, in most circumstances I would agree. In this case, however, the TV remote did actually fall off the dresser. That's what woke me up, and as well as my wife. What I saw actually did happen. Perhaps being in a state of sleep paralysis allows one to access a different dimension, because I haven't seen the creature since and I saw nothing fall off anywhere around the house. So basically all's been normal. Anyway, that was one weird night. I went through a rough patch some 3 months ago. It was work related. We work as a team at my job and there was a miscommunication while we were in charge of a really important project. So basically, all members of our team were forced to put insane hours at the office to mend the mistake. That went on for like 2 weeks. As you might imagine, it was a difficult time for both my body and mind. So while all of that was going on, I came home very late this one night and literally collapsed on my bed. Seriously, I stepped into my apartment, took off my shoes and jacket, snuck under the blanket, then it was lights out for me. Then in the middle of my slumber, I woke up, but there seemed to be a problem. I couldn't move my body or speak for that matter. I was completely paralyzed. I don't know if others might handle it better, but for me, it was terrifying. The thing about me at the time is that I was single. If I were to be stuck in that state, then there was no one there to wake me up. I remember one time, my mom was in a state of sleep paralysis. She was having a nap on the couch, and even though her eyes were closed, I could tell that she was struggling with something. I woke her up because I thought she was having a nightmare. But after I shook her up, Mom told me that she was actually experiencing sleep paralysis. She had actually been in that state for at least 10 minutes before I woke her up. So really, who the heck knows how much longer she would have struggled if not for me. That previous experience is what scared me so much. Knowing that sleep paralysis can last a long time and the fear that it might be the same case for me. Unfortunately, my hunch was correct. I don't know for how long I've tried, but for the life of me, I couldn't wake up. It was only at 7 in the morning when the alarms finally did the trick. I've got 3 loud alarms that go off in the morning since I'm not a morning person. Well, those 3 alarms were loud enough to get me out of the sleep paralysis. I was finally free. I can't really tell you for exactly how long the sleep paralysis lasted. It was, however, definitely longer than an hour. The dread of not being able to move, it was horrendous. The only thing that I can compare it to is being tied up and placed inside a box that's barely big enough to fit my body. Trust me when I say this, it's worse than the worst nightmare you can think of. I've been fine since then, and I'm hoping things stay that way. It sucks to live alone sometimes, but it's tough to give up this freedom and privacy for companionship. I guess what they say is true. You can't have everything in life.